With a little bit of luck and some late goals, the Blue Jackets are in a playoff spot for the first time since November. Let's break down how they got there on today's Locked On Blue Jackets.
You're Locked On Blue Jackets, your daily podcast on the Columbus Blue Jackets, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, welcome to Locked On Blue Jackets, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I am, as always, your host, Jay Foster, here to give you the good, the bad, and the ugly about your favorite team and mine, the Columbus Blue Jackets. Before we get things started, I want to thank everyone for making this your first listen of the day every single day. Locked On Blue Jackets is free and available on all podcast platforms and over on YouTube. And I also want to let you know that today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. A lot to talk about with last night's game. It wasn't a perfect game by any stretch of the imagination. Blue Jackets got it done. I thought it was a solid win, but I don't think the game itself was all that great. I think there were some things that could be cleaned up in it, let's say. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to check in around the league because, like I said, the Blue Jackets are in a playoff spot. How did they get there? Who did they have to worry about? All of that jazz. But mostly I want to talk about the game because, like I said, good performances, some good individual performances, but the Blue Jackets were... Blue Jackets were the better team. But the Blue Jackets should have been the better team, and I think the margin should have been wider. Like, I don't think the score should have been as close as it is. It looks wider than it is because of that empty net goal at the end, but this was essentially a 5-3 game, right? And I think all three of the Rangers' goals could have been avoided. First goal, short-handed breakaway. Second goal, I thought that was just a terrible goal to allow. And I get some criticism on this show for being more critical of Elvis than of Jet. But that was an extremely un-Jet-like goal to allow. Like, he just kind of waved at it as it went past. Terrible goal for him to allow. And that was the point at which I was like, uh-oh. It's 2-2. Blue Jackets obviously pick it up after that. But when the Rangers made it 4-3 early in the third period, I was like, oh, God, here we go again. Power play goals, I always give a little bit more grace to the goalie. That was a really good deflection from, was it Alexis Lafreniere? Yeah. But it shouldn't have been 4-3 at that point in the game. I do think also credit has to go to Igor Shesterkin, who I thought was excellent in the first period. Again, that Lundestrom goal, great shot by him. The Garland goal, just really bad luck. And I believe the Blue Jackets had 14 or 15 shots on goal in that first period, and he made several excellent saves. So, it kind of came unglued for him a little bit later on in the game. And again, for someone the Blue Jackets have struggled with in the past, they've been very good against Igor Shesterkin so far this season. And, they've taken 5 out of 6 points from the Rangers. But really, the only real threat, I thought, from the Rangers was Shesterkin. And again, the Blue Jackets, I think, was it 5 goals on 36 shots, not counting the empty netter? Like, he was really the only player that I was worried about in this. And again, just kind of looking down at who showed up on the score sheet for them. They had a couple of guys so Mika Zibanejad, I thought, had a pretty good game, actually. He had 3 shots on goal, a goal and an assist. But everyone else was just kind of like there, mostly, which is a problem. No, that's unfair. I thought Lafreniere had a good game as well. He had a good game when the Blue Jackets were last in town as well, I feel like. But the point I'm making here is the Blue Jackets were the better team for very large portions of this game. They outshot them 37-25. Again, another game where the Blue Jackets held their opponents to under 25 shots on goal. They outshot them in all 3 periods, including in the third period, which, again, when that 4-3 goal went in, I was like, uh-oh. But the Blue Jackets, they, again, bend, don't break, right? Which I guess the official Blue Jackets Twitter has also started using. But it's I was fully prepared for the Rangers to push in the third period, and the Blue Jackets just did not let them. They outshot them 10-5 in that third period. Added a even strength goal, I believe. The Severson goal, and then Adam Fantilli's empty netter as well at the end. So I thought the third period was solid. I thought the first two periods were kind of wobbly defensively. Obviously, they did enough to get the job done. But I thought there were a lot of odd man rushes to clean up, which you shouldn't be giving a team like the Rangers odd man rushes, right? Like, and again, what the first goal, shorthanded breakaway, unacceptable to kind of let that happen, right? Regardless of whether or not I think Jet should have saved it, it should have been in that position. Second goal was kind of a partial break, I want to say. Like there was a defenseman between him and the goalie, but not like blocking a lane or anything, and he did just kind of sail down the outside edge and fire the puck in. Which again, not a great goal by Jet, but also I don't understand how it got to that point. So like I said, lots to clean up. I will say that I thought the special teams were mostly pretty good. They scored one power play goal on 5 attempts, but I believe that those 5 attempts were like, one of those attempts was about 11 seconds long on account of how as soon as the Blue Jackets got a power play, someone else would do crime. There was that stretch in the third period where like they just kept taking it in turns to do crime. Like as soon as one penalty was killed, another one started, and that's the ice time for this game is super wonky. If you look at like where is it? Here we go. If you look at like even strength ice time, Connor Garland only played 7 minutes at even strength last night. Kent Johnson played almost 9 minutes. It evens out at 5-on-5, but even at 5-on-5, Sean Monahan played 7:45. Because they spent so much time on the power play. Charlie Coyle. Oh, on special teams, I should say. Charlie Coyle had 23 minutes of ice time. He led all Blue Jackets forwards because he plays on both the power play and the penalty kill. So on the power play, Coyle played 5:49 on the power play, and then he played 3:12 on the penalty kill. So that's what, almost 12 of those 23 minutes were on special teams, and that's not including the 4-on-4 play that happened as well. Like, just really wonky ice time for both teams, in fairness. But I feel like specifically for the Blue Jackets, when you look at it, it seems really lopsided, which I don't love. But what I wanted to say, the power play, I would have loved to see more from them. That being said, the first 2 power plays of the game, which I don't believe they scored on, no. They had, in those first 2 power plays, they had 13 shot attempts and 8 shots. That was maybe Igor Shesterkin's best stretch of the game. But in 7:07 of power play time, or 5-on-4 time, the Blue Jackets had 17 shot attempts and 10 shots on goal, which is pretty good, right? Didn't score, but pretty good. They scored later on in the game, actually. Adam Fantilli had that power play goal to make it 4-2. So in, again, 7:07, they had 17 shot attempts, 10 shots, and 1 goal. They also allowed a goal on the power play. Obviously, that Trocheck shot-handed goal, which isn't great. But what I thought was much more impressive was the penalty kill. The Rangers had just over 8 minutes of power play time in this game. They had 8:02 to be exact, and so that's 4 minor penalties in total. In those 4 penalties, they managed to muster 3 shots on goal, 6 shot attempts, and that's it. 0 goals. Sorry, that's a lie. They scored 1 goal, the Lafreniere goal. So again, but that was just a really lucky bounce. They created basically nothing. The Blue Jackets gave them nothing at 5-on-4. It took them until the second, like they didn't get a single shot on goal in the first power play. They got 2 in the second power play, and then the third and fourth power plays, they got 1 shot total. And the Blue Jackets also had 3 shots on goal during the Rangers power play, so the shot differential was actually 0. The shots were 3-3. The scoring chance, the shot attempts were 6-3 to the Rangers in 8 minutes. So again, I've talked a lot about how like I don't really have a bar for what a good penalty kill looks like necessarily on paper, right? Like you can see when you see it, you know it. But typically, if they're allowing less than a shot attempt a minute on a power play, I feel pretty good about that. Again, like the actual chances weren't good. They had 1 high danger shot attempt on their 4 power plays. So really, really strong night for the Blue Jackets on that penalty kill, especially when you consider the Rangers have the 6th best power play in the league right now. So a really great job. Again, would I have loved to see the power play for the Blue Jackets get going a little bit more? Sure, but the Rangers power play basically got nothing in terms of what the Blue Jackets gave up, which is great, which is exactly what you want. Like, you don't want to give them a chance to do anything, and the Blue Jackets didn't. 1 goal, deflection. Again, I'm giving grace to Jet Greaves for that, because that was a really good tip from Lafreniere. And frankly, the fact that was the only thing that they gave up total, I feel pretty good about that. So, like I said, it was a messy game for both teams. Like, there was a lot of weird plays, right? Again, that Connor Garland goal, weird. A lot of odd man rushes for the Rangers. The Damon Severson goal, the Boone Jenner goal, I thought was really weird as well. Again, very Unschusterkin-like to just kind of kick that rebound out, and Boone Jenner's like, well, I guess if you don't want it, I'll take it. So again, lots of not what I would consider lucky bounces necessarily. The Garland goal definitely was, but a lot of weird bounces, stupid goals, that sort of thing, which worked in the Blue Jackets' favor, and they are now in a playoff spot, which we love to see. So I want to talk a little bit more about the game as a whole, because I want to talk about who showed up, who played well, that kind of stuff, and then we'll check in with the standings and what they look like as well. That's all coming up in just a second here at Locked On Blue Jackets. First, I'm going to tell you about FanDuel. College basketball is non-stop. Big games, tight spreads, momentum swings every single night. From early tip-offs to late-night West Coast shootouts, there is always action on the board. And now FanDuel is giving you a way to turn that energy into even bigger potential wins with a college basketball parlay profit boost. You can build any parlay you want, rivalry games, ranked matchups. You can mix spreads, totals, player props. However you see the slate playing out, you can build your parlay to suit you. Then all you do is apply the profit boost and instantly bump up the potential payout. Go safe, go bold, ride with the team you've been following all season. It's your parlay, your style, now with even more upside behind it. Head to FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com. FanDuel, play your game. Welcome back to Locked On Blue Jackets. If you haven't already, check out the Everydayers Club. You're going to get ad-free episodes of this show, access to a group chat over on Discord with me and other listeners of this show. All you do is tap the link in the show notes or go to lockedonbluejackets.supercast.com. It's just $5 a month or $50 a year, which I think is a pretty good deal. Once again, that is lockedonbluejackets.supercast.com. Let's talk a little bit more about the game, because there were some individual performances that I wanted to point out. One of them was Zach Werenski, who appears to be back. TM. He has been kind of slow coming out of the Olympic break. I think he got that flu or that norovirus or whatever it was, food poisoning, I don't know. And I think that really, really knocked him for 6, right? Like even when he was playing again, he didn't look the same. And I do think it was kind of a combination of like feeling physically bad. And also when you get that kind of sickness, like norovirus or whatever, it turns your brain into cardboard. And so it looked like he wasn't thinking the game as fast as he normally does. I thought he was, again, vintage Werenski last night. Just 38 shot attempts he was on the ice for in 24 minutes of ice time. Only 8 against. He was on the ice for 82% of the shot attempts. He was on the ice for 24 of the Blue Jackets' 37 shots, which is an insane number. The Blue Jackets outscored the Rangers 4-1 while he was on the ice. just a really, really, again, a vintage Werenski moment. He had himself in terms of offense creation. He had 5 individual shot attempts by himself. He created almost half a goal of offense all by himself. Sorry, if I flip over to where I actually want to be, he had 9 shot attempts, at all situations. The first was at even strength. 4 shot attempts, 2 high danger. It says here 3 at point, but I swear he had 4. They must have taken an assist away from him. But either way, 3 points on the night. Just again, exactly what the Blue Jackets need from Zach Werenski. Someone was up on Twitter, and I don't think this was, I'm not attacking this person, I don't think they were attacking anything, but they were like, it's crazy that they had that whole story on The Athletic about how good the Blue Jackets are, and they didn't even mention that Werenski hasn't scored in, like, I don't think since the Olympic break, essentially. And I was like, well, yeah, because they're getting scoring from other places, but Zach Werenski, he's back. He is all alone, second on defensive scoring. And he's still continuing to do that despite playing between like 3 and 7 games fewer than anyone else. So he has 72 points in 61 games. Around him, Lane Hudson has 69 points in 68 games. Cale Makar has 69 points in 67 games. Evan Bouchard is leading the way right now with 78 points in 70 games. So he's played 9 more games than Werenski, but only has 6 more points. Werenski is leading the charge with points per game. He's got a points per game rate of 1.18. The Norris talk has quietened a little bit, I think, because he has been kind of quiet over the past I don't know, handful of games. Again, he missed a bunch of games, but he's got 4 points in his last 2 games. Obviously, that 3 assist night last night, but he went pointless against Philadelphia and Florida. Had a couple of assists against Tampa Bay, an assist against LA. But so since he came back from his sickness, he has 7 points in 7 games, which is, again, sounds insane, but that's quiet for Zach Werenski, right? But he is, I believe, if the math I did last night is right, he's currently at 72 points on the season, which is 15 away from the single season points record set by Artemi Panarin back in 2019. So with 14 games left, Werenski needs 16 points in 14 games to set a new Blue Jackets record. Can he do it? If he plays like he did last night, then easily, right? Like that feels like I would put some money on that over on FanDuel, perhaps. The other guy that I wanted to talk about who is continuing to heat up is Adam Fantilli, who had 2 goals last night. One was an empty netter, and as we all know, empty netters don't count except for when they do. But he is he's rolling at the minute. He's on a 5-game point streak. He's got 7 points in those 5 games. He hasn't gone pointless since March 9th against the Kings. And then he had 2 points in the game before that. So in his last 7 games, he's got 9 points, I believe, if my math is right there. In the games since the Olympic break, he has got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. He's got 15 points in the games since the Olympic break, which I think is 13 games. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So 15 points in 12 games since the Olympic break. Like, if Adam Fantilli's heating up, that's a great sign for him and for this team. He hit 20 goals last night, added another one. He did this last season. You know, he really heated up down the stretch there, had 6 goals in his last 4 games of the season to hit 30 goals for the first time. I don't know necessarily if he does that again this season, but it's looking like he might. He's at 21 so far, and they've got 14 games left. So 9 goals in 14 games seems steep. It's a goal every game and a half, give or take. But the way he's playing right now feels pretty promising, I think. So those are the two guys I wanted to mention. I thought they both stood out really, really well. And that's great news, right? Those are the guys that you want to be standing out. I would love to see Marchenko get going. He had, I believe, an assist last night. So he's on 199 career points, 100 goals and 99 assists, which is fun. So if his next point is an assist, he'll have a 100, 100, 200 stat line, which I do think is very enjoyable. But I would love to see him again continue to light up, because we're seeing Zach Werenski come back to life from where he was only a point a game player. We're seeing Adam Fantilli light up. And this is not to say again that Kromachenko has been bad. I think he's also been about a point a game player since coming back from the Olympics, but I feel like there's more there, right? So would love to see that. But overall, like, again, I don't think the game was great. I thought there was a lot of good individual performances. I thought the fourth line was very, very solid, which is great news, because I'm tired of talking about how the fourth line was a liability. It seems like it's not that anymore, which is great news. At some point, we're going to have a conversation about whether Voronkov is going to fit back into this lineup at any point. But as it stands right now, they're not going to change anything while things are rolling. And that fourth line has been really, really good. So I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going to happen with Voronkov, but team's rolling right now. Team looks good. They play Seattle tomorrow night. Tomorrow morning, we'll do a quick little 10-minute preview there, so you can get your predictions in, and we'll check in with what Seattle's doing, because Seattle is doing something probably. I can never get a handle on what's happening with Seattle. Weird team. But we're gonna take another quick break. We're done talking about the game. I want to check in with the standings, and I don't think there's any games that matter to the Blue Jackets tonight, but we'll double check all of that. So that's all coming up in just a second here at Locked On Blue Jackets. First of all, I'll tell you about game time. There's nothing like being in an NBA arena. The crowd, the energy, the moment. Getting tickets, though, that part hasn't always been so simple. And that's why Game Time has become the go-to app for scoring tickets fast without the hassle. Put the advantage back where it belongs, with the fans. The Game Time app is super, super easy to use. I haven't used it for NBA games, but I use it all the time for NHL games. When I was in Toronto in the fall, when I'm in San Jose, we use that for Sharks tickets. I'm going to be in Montreal in a couple of weeks' time for the Blue Jackets game there. We used Game Time to get tickets there. It had all-in prices up front, which I love. No surprise fees at checkout. You can see the view from the seat before buying. And we actually used one of their zone deals. So all you do is you choose the section. Game Time picks the seats, and you save money. Everything is quick, intuitive, and stress-free from start to finish. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. That's code LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today, and remember, it's gametime.co, not .com. Welcome back to Locked On Blue Jackets. Let's just finish off here by checking in with the standings, because, don't know if you know about this, Blue Jackets are in a playoff spot right now. You'd love to see it. They got really lucky last night. The Islanders lost in regulation with 14 seconds remaining. The Senators got the win, and the Islanders have dropped out of a playoff spot. They have the same number of points as the Blue Jackets, but the Blue Jackets have that game in hand over them, which is great news. They currently are 1 point behind the Canadians, who are sitting at 84 and are the third seed in the Atlantic. The Penguins are the second seed in the Metro, have 84 points, and then both wildcard teams, the Bruins and the Red Wings, also have 84 points. Then you got the Blue Jackets there with 83 points, and the Islanders also have 83 points as well. So the margin for error, so small. Like, again, it's really like a win puts the Blue Jackets second in the Metro. A loss could drop them out of the playoffs entirely, especially if the Islanders win. And the Islanders, actually, the Blue Jackets play them on Sunday, which is wild, insane. It's going to be a huge game, maybe the biggest game of the season so far for the Blue Jackets, because that's going to be a chance to either get another 2 points of separation between the Islanders or let the Islanders back into the playoffs. So that game's really, really important. Can't focus on that yet. Got to focus on Seattle first, then pay attention to the New York Islanders the next day. But man, that's going to be a big game. The Blue Jackets are in a really good spot. right now. Again, you just it's like I've been saying, right? You don't have to beat every team. You just got to beat one. The Bruins won in regulation last night against the Winnipeg Jets, I want to say. The Red Wings and the Habs played each other, and the Red Wings won in regulation as well. So Habs stay within reach of the Blue Jackets. Again, I don't super think that the Atlantic is going to be relevant, but especially if the Blue Jackets can stay in the metropolitan 1-2-3 range, or the 2-3 range, I should say. I don't think they're going to catch the Carolina Hurricanes unless something amazing happens. But if they can keep fighting with the Penguins and probably the Islanders to keep that second or third seed, they don't have to worry about the wild card. But it's good to know that the Blue Jackets are right there in that wild card mix, and there's 3 teams at the Atlantic that are also in that mix. Because, like I said, don't have to beat everyone, just got to beat one person. Last night, the Blue Jackets beat the Islanders, or they didn't beat the Islanders, but they won. The Islanders lost, and they beat them back into that playoff spot. Really, really great stuff. You'd love to see it. Now the question is, can they hold on to it? And I guess we'll find out. They play Seattle, like I said, tomorrow night. Which Seattle is a team that makes not a lot of sense ever, but we'll talk about that in tomorrow morning's episode. We'll do a quick little bonus breaking down the Seattle Kraken and what the game should look like, etc. That's all I've got today. I was going to check, actually. I don't think there's any games that have standings relevance for the Blue Jackets tonight. We could do with the Devils beating the Capitals, but that's about it. So there's only 5 games on the docket, and the Capitals are really the only semi-relevant team there. So a Devils win would be helpful, but is not like integral to the Blue Jackets' success right now. I think the Capitals are like 5 or 6 points behind them. They're sitting at 76 points, so that's 7 points behind. Then the Devils are back on 72. So a Devils win would be useful, but is not integral to success. So tomorrow is where it's going to get interesting, because the Islanders, the Bruins, the Penguins, and the Habs all play, and probably the Red Wings as well. So that's going to be a night to scoreboard watch. And hopefully some things go the Blue Jackets' way. That's all I've got for today. Like I said, I'll be back tomorrow. We'll do a little pre-game bonus episode breaking down the Seattle Kraken, what the Blue Jackets need to know what the Blue Jackets need to do to win this game and keep their streak going. Thank you for listening to this episode, for making it your first listen of the day every single day. Locked On Blue Jackets is free and available on all podcast platforms and over on YouTube. You can find us on Twitter at LO_Blue Jackets as well. Join the Everydayers Club. We haven't already. $5 a month gets you ad-free episodes of this show, which some people suffer from ad fatigue a lot in this day and age, and I get that. And if that's something that you're struggling with, then I feel like $5 to not have to listen to ads is a pretty good deal. So lockedonbluejackets.supercast.com is where you go for that. Like I said, I'll be back tomorrow. Thank you once again for listening, and until then, make sure you stay locked on.